Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Elevator Dialogue here on the Uncle Junior Network. Tonight, we are talking about one of the most overlooked influences in a man's life. Wolfpack, the people he chooses to surround himself with. You know, your friendships can challenge you, they can sharpen you, encourage you, or quietly pull you away from the man you're trying to become. So, with that being said, I am happy to be joined tonight by a few members of my Wolfpack. So we have a couple of members here. One guy popped in and he popped out. Some people may having a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's all good. We're gonna give them an opportunity to come on in and slide in and welcome and be part of the show. So before we get started, I want to introduce you to tonight's panel. Right to my one side of me, we have none other than the Mr. David Brown. And then on the other side of me, we have Walt B. And then at the bottom, we got George Suber. We got the internet stepdaddy, and none other than the other artist, Mr. Antoine Christopher. Gentlemen, Wolfpack members,
Sir,
how are y'all doing this evening, this Wednesday afternoon at 7:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? How y'all fellas doing?
Doing good,
great.
man. What's going on, everybody?
Glad to be here. What's up, guys?
What's going on, Antoine?
What's up,
Man.
sir?
Vic,
I love it,
I love
man.
the air, man. I love the air.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, we finally made it to the last episode, and this episode fortunately is bringing all of this stuff together. We're talking about friendships, brotherhood, relationships, and who should and shouldn't be in your wolf pack. That means by this point, we had some guys probably roasted each other a little bit, probably some guys that don't like each other. No, I'm just playing. We don't roll like that over here. But we definitely had a real entertaining conversation last week. It definitely was about not it definitely was, but the show was about the purpose of a woman in your life. So it was a really good one. If you didn't go get a chance or opportunity to watch, especially if you're a young single man, I encourage you to go back and watch it. It was a good one. Also, all six. This is the sixth episode. So I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking. We are 4 minutes and 18 seconds in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw the first thing up there, and this is for the panel. And this is for everybody else who may be in the audience. So with that being said, if you're in a platform, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever like that, and you're watching this video, throw us a like, a share, all of that stuff. And feel free to be part of the conversation by asking a question in the comments or anything like that. So, gentlemen, this is for you and it's for the chat. Complete this sentence. A true friend is someone who... A true friend is someone who.
A true friend is someone that tells you when you're wrong.
Yep, I was going to say that. Honesty.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're allowed to.
Yeah. A true friend, I was going to say, is they're going to tell you the truth even when you don't want to hear it.
For me, it's they're going to fight for you. They're going to challenge you. They're going to forgive you. And they'll never let you down when life is getting in your way. They're going to have your back regardless.
Okay. I can roll with all them. I don't object to anything.
There's someone that won't change up on you. They're going to be true to you and themselves. Somebody that you know is just, authentic and official.
Somebody said challenge you. I know sometimes I can remember times when I was younger and people would challenge me. And I didn't think that they were my friends. So whoever said that, I think it may have been Walt or maybe somebody else. Explain a little bit more what you mean about friends challenging you. Because if we friends, why are you challenging me? These ain't my words. I'm just speaking from someone who may have that point of view.
So for me, I'm gonna bring my Uncle Pete up again. Last week I talked a little bit about him, but I've heard this multiple times after he told me. But when I was a teenager, he told me never to be the smartest person in the room. And whenever I heard that, like I was straight A student. I was one of those people who was always one of the smartest people in the room. But as I got older, I realized that if you're the smartest person in the room all the time, you got all the answers, you're going to get a little arrogant. But then I surrounded myself with some people who are a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and they were able to give me better advice than I can get from my peers, from my same age peers. And as I grew up and grew older, it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Your friends, your true friends, anybody in your wolf pack that challenges you, that's your road dog for life.
I get that. I understand and I like it. As you were talking, I was also thinking about growing in friendships, right? It seems like, I think you may have mentioned it, like where I'm at in a friendship right now may be different than later on. You talked about being the smartest person in the room, right? So that means I'm going to have to constantly get new friends, maybe, because what I'm thinking is this: if I'm 20 years old and we're all right here, if I'm the smartest in the room, then not that I don't have any more need for these people, but that means I need to start finding other people. And if this is a constant thing that men go through, how can we really start having people in our wolf pack? Because if we're growing, if I'm constantly working on myself, eventually I'm outgrow y'all. Not, you know what I mean, based off what you're saying. So then now I'm the smartest one in the room, and then now I gotta find some new people. So are you mean literally the smartest person in the room? And anybody can jump on this. And I'm just pretty much speaking from other people maybe listening, because I can see a young man listening to this is like, man, if I'm the smartest one in the room, I'm gonna have to keep getting friends over and over. And I do believe that may be partly true, but I do want to give y'all an opportunity to kind of gnaw on that a little bit about that.
I'm just gonna push back a little bit because you ain't the smartest in the room. You're the smartest of what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're smart. You're the smartest of what you know, but you ain't the smartest in the room. I've been with doctors that were in a room. They were idiots when it came to common sense things. They didn't have, outside of what they know, they weren't the smartest person in the room. They didn't know how to build a house. They didn't know how to fix a car. So I think you're the smartest from what you know in a room. Now you could be around intelligent people in a conference that know what it's about, but I never believe a person's the smartest in the room. You ain't no Einstein, right? And even Einstein everybody knows he was awkward. He couldn't even play baseball or a sport. Does it make him dumb? He ain't exactly smart at it. So, and I believe, a true friend, I always like to say, tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I don't have any of my true friends in my wolf pack because they don't serve a purpose. I separate the two. That's how I see. I think a wolf pack, a wolf pack for me is that you have a presence, you have something to offer. You have something that we need within the pack that can get us further in what we're doing. But that has nothing to do with my true friends. My true friends I'll always have a place to stay, I'll always have a plate of food. But my wolf pack is who I build with, who I believe in, who I can bounce things off of, who serves a purpose more than a true friend.
Can
That's all.
Can that person play both roles?
No, because I don't think they'll be able to separate the two. I think they'll take more on my side because they're my boy, but they won't. They'll side with me because they know me. And I don't believe in that.
So how does one determine the difference between a friend and someone in the wolf pack? Because in my wolf pack, I think there may be levels. There are certain people in my wolf pack that may be an extended member of my wolf pack, but then there are also people who may be closer to me who I consider part of my wolf pack and may consider a friend at the same time. So for me, I can see where I believe I know I have people based off my definition of wolf pack and friendship. I have people who are in both. So break it down to me, the difference between a true friend and your separation with them, and why, and the difference between them and the wolf pack.
Well, like you said, there's levels to it. So I'll go with that word, levels.
Okay.
And when I say there's that, like, there's friends you grow up with, there's friends that are your boys, there's friends that you would go out of your way to help, There's friends that, but there's also friends, as great as they are, they're not previous to the information that's causing you to build your life. They don't know the back end of your financials. They don't know that end. You won't share that end with them. They're your true friend and all, but you ain't sharing that. You're not, right? That's how I see it. Like a Wolfpack to me is my boys that I build with, my boys that I would want to do business with, my boys that I would say, okay, let's get this going.
So
That's
what?
That's how I separate.
What I want more people to go about it, because now
Okay,
that I'm
right.
thinking about it, I can kind of see a separation, and because I have people who I consider part of my wolf pack, but they're not my friends, right? It's just like you said, we're boys. Like, I'll rock with you. I'll I will impart knowledge into you. I will receive knowledge and information from you, but I don't consider you a friend. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that may be based off of my definition of what I consider a friend or a wolf pack. But going around the horn, anybody want to add to it? What do y'all see as far as like a difference between or do you see a difference between friendships and wolf pack? Or what are your thoughts on friends, wolf packs, contrast, compare, however you want to do it?
Well,
I would say, anybody want to go?
You go ahead and then I'll
Okay,
go.
so I would say, oh, my bad, man. If I'm cool enough to get information from someone, I would consider them a friend. Now, what tier they are, what tier they're on as far as friendship, they may not be on a higher tier. There's people that I'll get information from or share certain information with. There's people that know more things than me and give me, guidance, knowledge, and things like that. It may be even more so of a mentorship, but not a friendship, man. Now, friendship to me is getting together, man, and, having a drink or something like that, listening to music, watching some games and stuff like that. Some people that I would consider a mentor, I wouldn't necessarily do that with them on a regular. But for me to receive information from someone, I still would have to be, I can't not be cool with someone and get, I guess a lot of information from, I would have to have some level of, friendship, respect or something, that would make me, want to, I don't know, just, I guess, bond with that person in a way to be able to get that close, because does that mean I just can't take information from nobody? No, but I believe there has to be something there for me to be able to sit down and, hey, be able to chop it up with you on some level,
You pretty much speaking boundaries with certain relationships.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
I said, so you're in a sense also talking about boundaries with certain people. If you're a mentor, there are going to be certain boundaries. We may do this, but we ain't going to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And that doesn't mean that I'm not cool with that person or we don't have, some type of decent relationship. But, that doesn't mean that, we're going to get together and, put some food on the grill, hang out, listen to the music, that kind of thing. But, certain friends that I do that with, they may not have that knowledge that I need as well. So, there's separations and stuff like that. And that's fine. You have different people for different things, man. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say it can be separations, but then it can be the same as well. Like you say, you have some people, like you say, you can grill with and everything and chill out with and stuff like that. But then you might have some that you can't do or you don't do that with. And then there are some people where you will be able to get certain information that can help grow you and different things like that. But, in some cases, like I know I have, certain friends that are friends, but they also are the type where I'm learning from this person and this person is learning from me. And I consider them a close friend, So, like you say, it's all the, how you look at it. But I like what you said about boundaries, like if you're a mentor or something, you definitely have to have boundaries and different things like that. And there, like you said, are levels. I mean, like I said, I think about Jesus and the disciples. He had 12 disciples. You know, he had 12 disciples, but there were 3 that he kept closer to him, Peter, James, and John. And then even out of the Peter, James, and John, when he was at the cross, John was the one that was there. And so there's levels to these friendships or these relationships. And one thing I know in the Bible, with Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron, and the countenance of one man sharpens another. And I know me personally, I can speak and say I have both. I have people that, you know, I don't even wouldn't say they're associates, you know what I'm saying? But then I have friends that hold me accountable, that, you know, will tell me the truth, even if I really don't want to hear it, because it makes me better, you know? And so that's one thing I can say with this friendship thing and this Wolfpack. You know, sometimes it can be different, but then sometimes they can be one and the same, depending on where you are. You know, that's what I was saying.
I'm a little bit confused, because maybe I'm looking at Wolfpack the wrong way. Are you guys saying Wolfpack is a friendship thing, or Wolfpack is business? Like, I'm a little
I
confused.
think it could be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
it's whatever you want it to be.
So there's no. It's what you want it to be, then, right?
It's what
not
you want it to
thing.
be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's no true definition, because you could all ask us over here what's our definition of a wolf pack, and they may be similar, but who we choose to allow in our wolf pack and where they play a part is different. Like, we had the show a long time ago, and we said, could women be in a wolf pack? And we had different answers. We had some people's like, yeah, because if you look at a real wolf pack, there is women. And there were people who are blatantly like, no, women are not in my wolf pack. Those are my boys. So the same thing is, it comes down to what your definition of friendships and wolf pack and stuff like that is. So,
but let's get so you'll have like 2 groups. One wolf pack you will do business with, and one wolf pack you'll only confide with. Is that fair to say?
I would say yes, because like like all of you guys are part of my wolf pack, but y'all play different roles. But we're also connected to each other's extended wolf packs, right? So like this, like if I reach out to Walt about something and I don't know, I believe that, like if I'm writing a book or something like that, or Vic, because I know both of them are published authors, I know that I would get help or contact that would help me in my book, whether they know who a publisher is or somebody who can edit it or review it or whatever. Because I'm connected to them, I'm automatically have an extended wolf pack outside of that, and an outer layer that automatically helps and support me because I'm connected to those 2 gentlemen. So I understand that there's layers of the wolf pack. And then again, like you said, some people may consider their woman or business women, they may be partners with in business or something like that, or maybe somebody that they can run information by. They may consider that woman part of their wolf pack. And then some men are like, nah, ain't no woman in my wolf pack. And both definitions are okay.
Okay, I get it.
At the end of the day, it's about that word up there when you're talking about relationships and what that looks like to you. Like, whatever you decide are the close people in your life and where you want to put them at the end of the day, whatever label you slap on them is irrelevant at the end of the day. They're just for talking points.
Right. Like I can't see a woman being in any man's wolf pack, because that's personal. That's your personal. So you can't, she will have no influence over another man, and you wouldn't let another man disrespect her like that, but that's in your personal life. You can check her, but if she's in the wolf pack and another man checks her, you're not going to be too happy with that, right? So that's why I don't know. And they bleed on top of that. So forget that, right? They got that time of the month. They ain't exactly going to be, they don't want to be part of that wolf pack at that time, right? So that's why I'm just trying to be clear on where that wolf pack thing is coming from. That's why the only reason I asked. That ain't me.
I know what it is. This is Vic. He playing your church music for you. But Vic, you ain't hopped on this real quick. What's your when it comes to like wolf pack and friendships? You know what I mean? You separate the two, bring them together. What are your thoughts on it? And then we're going to slide over to the first statement of the night.
I think Wolfpacks is centered on activity. What mutual activity do we share? And you get consulting through that that same way. Let's say we were like playing a team sport, right? Pick a sport. One of us has more of a coach's mindset. Somebody might have, like be better at strategy, managing situations, and we trust that person to be that for the group, you know. And whereas like relationships are a lot more personal and respective to the activity, meaning like how many people up here ride motorcycles?
Yep.
So I wouldn't see we probably wouldn't be having a conversation that Walt would like walk in on, you know what I'm saying? We talking about sport bikes and you know what I'm saying, it's not his activity. You know, we're not the same thing. Uh somebody mute Antoine. So like I think a wolf pack is centered around an activity, you know, for the most part. Now, it is a plus that if within that wolf pack that you two are friends. So like I used the motorcycle scenario, me and Garfield been friends for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a different layer of trust with each other that goes far beyond, you know what I'm saying, social media, any of this stuff. Matter of fact, our friendship created what we do, you know, when we do content together, you know. Even I benefit from what he does in his professional life with all of his education, what he does with his I've seen him, you know what I'm saying, raise his sons. You know what I'm saying? I've flown to visit him, done content with him. So we've grown our friendship off of just time and you know what I'm saying, and exchange of ideas. That's a lot different. But I also have friends that do none of this stuff. You know, they don't write, they don't have a desire to participate in anything I'm in, and nor do I have a desire to drag them into anything that I do. But the door is always there if they want to participate and add value to it, you know. So every life is about relationships in general. And like even earlier when you said, you know, about becoming the smartest person in the room and then having to change things up, I believe people need to change friend groups every 3 years. Cause like how many of y'all are still friends with people you went to kindergarten with? You know what I'm saying? First grade. And even if you are, what value do they add other than just saying that they know you? You know what I'm saying? Like, so like that word friend gets tossed around too loosely, in my opinion, because even within your own family, from the micro to the macro, how we think about people that we can trust and confide in, that trust gets exercised within your family group first, and you know that there's some people in your family you can't absolutely trust with certain information. So that same behavior gets modeled everywhere you go in life. You're going to meet somebody that reminds you of a relative, and that can be good or bad. You know what I mean? And just because they're older, when you're younger, that doesn't mean that an older person has your best interest. Sometimes they're jealous, you know, and sometimes you got younger people around you that you might be able to trust differently because they respect, you know what I'm saying, what you have to offer. So I think that overall, all relationships are centered on activity. But I think the Wolfpack's activity is a lot more tangible. Like we have a common idea, a common activity, a common goal that we're trying to, you know what I'm saying, achieve. So we temper our egos, we align ourselves with what's the best interest for what we're trying to accomplish. And whereas with a friendship, there's the boundary is different, but there is one, you know. Whereas like if if I was trying to grow my beard or something like that, I gotta go call Unc. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see what he doing, you know. And but what Unc can't do, what he might be able to get away with is talking crazy about my beard. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the relationship we got. But you know, I think the wolf pack is just centered on activity for the most part.
I like all that stuff, man. Um, and I'm glad we went there. So this is something that we've always heard. You know, it may look a little bit different, but we always heard, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you what you're going to be. I'll show you what you ain't." All these different things. So here's show. I'll show you your future. So this is the first statement of the night. So what do y'all think about it? We hear it all the time. We hear, you know, young men or some young men may be watching this right now and then looking at this and they looking around at their friends. So what are y'all thoughts on show me your friends and I'll show you your future?
I think there's always some validity based on the people that you hang around. If I don't. You got guilt by association. Nobody's exempt. Perception is reality. Um, if you take a picture with somebody that harms children, now you automatically affiliated with people that harm children. I think it's about optics a lot of the times. I think we all know somebody that um, has had a checkered past and kind of stays in that lane, but they don't necessarily, going back to like the previous thing, they on a different tier of association with you. They can't. You got family members that steal from you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, or you don't let everybody in your house, whether you're related to them or not. So I think that's where you draw the line between an associate and a friend, anyway.
Mhm. I think also, I think back to myself, when I was, coming up and everything in high school and different things like that. And I think about the friend group that I had, and, I was like, yeah, just thinking of the stuff that they did and the stuff that they were doing. And, to keep it, 100, if I would have continued hanging with them, then, you know, my future probably would have been a lot different than what it is now. You know what I'm saying? And so I do agree that, you know, that if you show your friends and you show your future, that my future would have been different because the things that they were doing, you know, as we were getting older, I was like, I'm getting older. I want a different outcome. You know, I can't continue to do this. But had I continued to bang with them, then I probably would have still had, that same outcome. Not that they're horrible people and anything like that, but it just, I could see that it was, people started looking at me a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. And it just reminds me, like, uh, like I said, another scripture in the Bible says, bad company corrupts good character. And so I was, I believe my character was being tainted because of the crowd that I was around at the time.
Man, I like that. Bad company corrupts good character. Man, I never heard that, to be honest with you. But man, that's good stuff, man. But I truly believe in that statement, man. It is 100% true to me. If I hadn't joined the army and stayed where I was, where I grew up at, I'm sure I would not have been where I wouldn't be where I am right now. Just because of the company that I kept. And you know. As David said, man, it's not that they're bad people, but at the same time, you have different paths, and you go different ways, and man, where I am right now, not too long ago, earlier this year, I lost a friend, had to go back home to Pittsburgh, to the funeral. And I seen, a lot of the people that I hang with, man, and, man, and not to talk down on who they are, what they've become, but we're just in different places, and that's just the reality of it. And they were all my friends, my associates, and man, if you seen me, you seen a group of them, vice versa, but I knew early, even before high school, if I didn't go to college, that my goal was to leave Pittsburgh, and my way was the army, so man, there's so much truth to that, man. If any young man comes across this at any point, if they're listening now, take in what everybody is saying. We've been there, and man, there's some truth to this stuff, man. There really is.
I just a little pushback. See, I believe that, like, my wolf pack, if I'll break it down even to simpler. My wolf pack, I can lend that person money and I'm cool. if they don't pay me back or they pay me back slowly. In the friends category, I lend you that money. If you don't pay me back, it costs me that much money to get rid of you for life because you will never come back to me again. We're done. We're good. Keep the money. Don't need it. That's how much it costs. Because obviously, if you find that you cannot pay me back or you find excuses, that's the level you're showing me where I fit into your life, right? So I think there's levels in life. I think that as you get older, you got to dump the waste. You build different friendships. Different people come into your life with different meanings. You got to dump the waste. You can't take everybody with you. And the hard decision is, who do you dump? Well, obviously the person that's not doing anything besides making you laugh, but you can't exactly get ahead with that, right? They fit into that category, but they're great with a beer, but you ain't going to talk to them between 8 in the morning and 4 when you're working. And I think people, you're as good as the company you keep at a certain stage in your life. You're as good as the company you keep. I don't understand what's the complication in that. I believe there's people that serve a purpose. There's people I don't want to be friends with, but they serve a purpose.
What we got going on?
You can't hear me? Oh.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there's people that serve a purpose. That's what they're there for. I don't need to break bread with you over a dinner table, but I need you to sign that check. And there's people that are your Wolfpack. You're there. They're there for the solid advice. You know, they got the thing going on. Those are the people you lend money to. You want to build something with. You could build something with. When I say you're in my Wolfpack, that's how I see you. And that's where you fit in. So you can call me. I'm there for you. But then you can't take everybody with you. I mean, who said that? I don't know who said it on the panel that, you know, you're really not in touch with your childhood friend. And if you are, he's there for a good conversation, a beer, maybe some advice if he's married with kids. But he's not really there serving a solid ride or die purpose in your life to help you get ahead. I'm not saying there aren't some like that. Generally speaking, though, come on, no. You don't know your friend back in kindergarten, the average person. I don't even think you remember kindergarten.
But I will say this. The only pushback I may say about this, as you was talking, I was like, it probably is a very small amount of people. But then I think about it, I think it's small, but I think it may be bigger than what we think. And here is why. When I look at Facebook sometimes and I look back at and I see the class reunion stuff and I see all of those people who stayed in their hometown, a lot of those people have been friends since elementary school, played Pop Warner football together and everything. So I think maybe it may be more, and only because, Antoine, and this is just, I don't have no data to back up anything. I'm just spitballing right now because I think most people stay in their hometown. I think as a community, as a whole, overall, most people stay in their hometown. So I think if you're one of those people who did that, you moved away. I moved away. So I'm only got a real good friendship with my friend from middle school. Like he lived 30 minutes away. We still tight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do think I don't know, Antoine. You may be absolutely right. None of us got no data, but just me thinking about most people stay in their hometowns, I think we may have more than what we know. I don't know.
And your environment controls your outcome.
Definitely environment. Yeah.
Your environment controls your outcome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your environment controls your outcome. I'm just saying I didn't let my environment control the outcome. If I would have stayed in my environment, I would have been a loser with some of those idiots back then.
Yeah, like David.
That were good friends. Don't get me wrong. They were good friends. You know what I mean? It's like I always say it. If I want to see the ghetto, I'm going to drive to it. I am not going to live in it, right? Sucks to be you, but no, right? I'm definitely not parking my car in it. I'm just saying, I think everybody needs to mature and get out and be who they are. Now, if you try to take those guys with you, you're not going anywhere. You're not. Because the same jokes they're telling you when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the same jokes they're going to remind you of that you laughed about when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You cannot take it with you. The only way you're going to expand yourself is by leaving your environment. You ain't going to live at home with your parents for the rest of your life, right? You're not. You'll take care of them, but you're not going to live at home. I just see it like that. I just think in order to grow, you need to get away. You cannot grow in the same house you raised in. You can't. You ain't seen nothing.
Yeah, you're too comfortable. You can't grow when you're comfortable. Growth is
So
uncomfortable.
let me
And I
ask you
think
this then. With that said, does that mean that you can't be successful? Does that
Garfield,
mean
no,
that, you can't, have a career, go to school, something like that, or, have a good job, things like that? So do you think that's not possible? I
Are you asking
mean,
me?
yeah, you and anybody else that would want to, comment on it, but, is that not possible? For me, in my situation, I don't know. I would say it would have been tough. I don't think I would be here where I am right now, but,
I think it just
is it
depends on
just
where you're
not
from.
possible?
It's not. It's not. I don't care what you
I
say. Growth
well, no, I'll give
unless you're
I
taking over your family business, but
well,
you're not.
let me say this. Maybe it's an exception for my experience, but like one of my neighborhood friends from where I grew up at is in the chat right now, and a lot of people in our city, where I'm from in Birmingham, Alabama, I've seen a lot of people come out of Birmingham that I went to school with that have become very successful. Like the current mayor, I used to work with him at one of my first jobs. Um, man, Ruben Studdard, I went to high school with him. Was on America's Got Talent, I think. Went on and had a pretty decent music career. It's quite a few other people I can't name, but the people that I've seen come from my city have been very productive in higher levels of visibility. I know quite a few entrepreneurs that do everything um, above board, and they want to what I'm saying, be successful and be legit. There are more legit people that I know, and I think the era from which I was raised as a Gen X, 47-year-old, male, that the standard of expectation was a lot different for our generation of children, what I'm saying, that became the adults that we are now. I think it's a generational thing. I think it's a lot to do with um, a religious foundation in a lot of places. Education, if the household values education, people still become successful. I know some doctors, I know some lawyers that I went to school, and I think a lot of it has to do with region, because if you talk to someone that is from a particular zip code and a different time zone, like if they grew up on the East Coast in the same era where I grew up down south, or whatever, their circumstances and environment might have been a completely different situation. We might look like squares and nerds compared to somebody else that might have grown up out west, what I'm saying, during the height of Rodney King and a ton of police brutality on the West Coast, or up north, and what I'm saying, in the East Coast, where drugs might have hit different in their neighborhoods, and some areas may have been a lot more, or a lot less touched. And I think that a lot more families are more intact in certain regions than others. I think that has a lot to do with it also, because the general respect that we would have for our neighbors, the people that we know, what I'm saying, their loved ones, I think that is always going to carry over, because like my guys are in the chat, what I'm saying, so I can speak to, what I'm saying, my personal experience with that. What's up, Spoke, my boy Robert King Jr., so man, I think it just varies on the zip code that you was raised in, and the situation that your family set up for the children.
Yeah, Suba, did you and get your response or get your answer, your stuff good with Antoine? Your question?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of was and wasn't a real question. I was just saying, what the responses would be. But, man, each case is individual. But at the same time,
Mhm.
man, environment, man, whether it's, you're coming from impoverished neighborhood, or, low income neighborhood, whatever the case may be, but you will still have individual families that, may, consider education as a top priority or something like that. And regardless of your situation, they still will push through, and, seeing, when I went back, earlier this year and saw some of my friends, I saw some of them, that, it was like, wow, they could probably be doing better, and that's just being real. But, that's not saying that they're all like that. Some of my closest friends, actually my very best friend, he just got out of federal prison for 15 years. And, us, we were like, man, we were like close. But there were three of us. And my third friend, I seen him for the first time early this year, as well, for the first time, probably about 20 years. But, he's doing solid too, and, like myself, it took him a minute to get there, and you go through the things in life, but at the same time, we eventually, got to a point where we're comfortable. He has a career, he has a house, a wife and kids, all that good stuff, but again, we had another friend, and you could actually say that he was more stable in life than I was, but, he just chose a different path. So, who's to say, man? But I will, back to what the original question was for this particular topic. I do believe that, your friends will, man, show you what your future is, man. Overall, that is a thing, because, like I said, the overwhelming amount of people that I saw, unfortunately, I felt that, man, I would like to see them do better, or I would have liked to be seeing them do better than what they presented when I saw them last.
Absolutely. I'll try to wrap this all up by saying something real simple. You show me my friends, and I'll show you a man's destiny is hidden in the circle of his friends. The right friends will build your legacy, and the wrong ones will help you destroy it. So,
amen.
Like everybody said before, you got those friends that you can count on, and then you got those ones that, like Antoine said, you just got to let them go because they ain't worth it.
Definitely.
Y'all know what happened on January the 1st, right? Every year, right? Y'all probably don't know. So if y'all watch some old episodes of Elevator Dialogue, Antoine gets his phone out. He goes through his Rolodex. People he hadn't heard from him in a year.
Delete.
He delete them. Bro, I'm gonna tell you, look, at the beginning of this year, last year, I've been texting Antoine. Antoine wasn't responding. I was like, Antoine, we already had this conversation a couple months ago, right? I'm bringing it back your attention. And I'm like, Antoine, look, bro. I was like, Antoine, I thought I was off the list, bro. I was like, Antoine, I thought that when I hadn't heard from you, that January 1st hit, that I had been deleted, and I was no longer part of the Wolfpack. Antoine was like, no, man, my phone this. Yeah. And then Antoine had some life going on. I'm not going to share his personal business, but Antoine had some life going on, and that's why we wasn't We wasn't connected. But look, here we are. But at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what I'm saying? So,
but Garfield, to be on top of that with everybody and all these guys here that you guys are great, by the way. But don't you think you guys should go through your phone and delete who hasn't called you? It's not like they don't have your number if they really wanted to reach you. Like it's so liberating. It's like
I don't delete. Here's why I don't delete. So I want to know when they call so I can ignore.
Yes.
Why would you even want that? Listen, no, I don't answer. If your phone, I don't answer phones. I don't answer numbers without a name, right?
I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying, Antoine. He doesn't reach out to them, but if his phone rings, now he knows. So now he gets to delete them. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not deliberately I'm not about to inventory everybody that got my number. You know what I'm saying? But if they call me at a weird time and I know it's some BS, it's got to be, or at least I'll tell them, hey, text me or something, let me know what the issue is so I can figure out if it's worth my time. You know what I'm saying? Because the people that got your number, you've given them access to you, right? So
don't you give people access?
So hear what I'm saying. In good faith, you hope that they're not abusing their access, right? Now, if they call you and all they want to do is tell you some boohoo sob story every time you talk to them, they're using you to dump on you, right? Those are the people that you get up out the paint quickly.
They ain't got to wait till January the 1st.
I don't want to harp on this. I'm just saying that there's people you go, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. Those ones, right? Give me a call when you get a chance. We'll get back to you. I'm saying all that should be out of your phone. you know who you're like. All that should be out of your phone. I'm just saying that if you don't call me for my birthday, I used to be that if you don't call me for my birthday, I used to delete you because now I know you ain't important, right? I used to do it that way. And then my father sort of said, "Well, son, not everybody takes birthdays as serious as you." I'm like, "You're right." So then it became like, if I don't hear from you in a year, then you have my number, and if you need to reach me, you'll call me. And if it's important, you'll leave a message. If it's not, then you just call to say hi, which doesn't do me any good anyways. That's all I'm saying. And it's very liberating. You guys you put a beer next to you or a good coffee on January 1st, and you sit down and you go through your phone, you'll see how many friends you really have. And you'll be like, holy shit, did I really have that many acquaintances?
I think people put Coach is in the chat too. He said, how are we defining friends? And to me, I just believe it's just reciprocal relationships. You know what I'm saying? So now, if Antoine's put it out that, hey, if you don't contact me on this date, this time, or concerning this particular matter, then lose my number. You know what I'm saying? I get that, because that's your boundary. Like for me, since I'm very to myself, so I'm not closing myself off to anyone, but I only communicate on the same level of energy that a person communicates with me.
Right.
So if I don't push the envelope and I'm not getting on, somebody else's time zone or frequency, and they're not trying to get on mine, it's no love lost because my life is busy too. Just because I'm not reaching out doesn't mean I don't, I don't value our friendship or our relationship any more or less. I got other functions that's completely independent of everybody else. Man, look, I'm in here right now in my office chopping it up with y'all. My wife in in the other room, drinking wine and looking at TV. So
where she should be, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, hell, if she wanted yeah, I get it, but, it's like every person deserves to have a boundary that remains intact. Meaning, like, even if I hadn't talked to you in a long time, shoot me a text if you want to get on a call. You know what I'm saying? Because I get it. It's everybody's life is not moving in in communion with my life. Life be lifing.
I will say that though. I like what you said, and I think Dave, I think you about to jump out there and say something. I'm gonna give you a shot, but I will say that I have learned to give men grace over the last few years, and Antoine, I get your 1 year thing, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I get it. I rock with you. I think it's a little different for everybody else. I rock with what Vic's saying too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah, like I get all of that. I think that I don't know. You know what? Let me back down. David, go ahead and let me give you the floor. You have the floor. I can talk anytime. Go ahead, brother.
What I think is, me, there are times like I hear about the boundaries and all that stuff, which are important. Definitely the boundaries are important. But like you tapped into it, Garfield, and I guess I'm just go when you're talking about giving people grace, giving people grace is important. I'm not saying that you continuously let someone abuse or take advantage of you or anything like that. But I do believe that giving grace is important because I'm quite sure all of us here on here, as some way, shape, or form, have mistreated someone else. You follow what I'm saying? And grace was extended to us. And so, with that being said, if grace was extended to us, then I do believe we should extend grace to others. Like, people misquote that scripture where they talk about turn the other cheek, let them slap. No, that don't mean let somebody slap you in the face. But you know what I'm saying? There are going to be times where all of us, every last one of us on here and everybody that we're connected with, absolutely none of us are perfect. You follow what I'm saying? None of us are perfect. And so even the people, guess what? that's in your wolf pack or the people that are your friends, they're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? And there are times where they might do something that you don't like or hurt you or whatever and everything. But if it's a true relationship, you know, then why are we cutting them off? You follow what I'm saying? If it's a true relationship. And you know, I go back to, y'all know I'm a pastor. I go back. I mean, I think of all the things I done, and the Lord could have cut me off many a time. And if I'm supposed to emulate and be like Christ and everything, then how can I put up or have a hard heart when someone has mistreated me and everything? You follow what I'm saying?
I'm talking about, David, I'm talking about someone, I'm not talking about a close friend. I'm talking about a friend, the average friend. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the average friend. I have no problem cutting off the average friend. You're just a friend. I'll get another one. And I think I have too many anyways. So that's a friend. I don't think that person deserves any grace. You're a friend. You're a friend. You didn't do nothing. You're a friend. I let you in.
Look, Antoine is the David Goggins of friends.
No,
you go hard on.
No, I get Antoine. Antoine, here's
my friend. You're a friend. We had a drink. We met at a bar. We went out a couple of times for dinner. But you're a friend. I have no problem cutting you. If you never call me, it's not like I'm gonna say, "Shit, man, I met that guy at the bar. We had a couple of drinks. Now he ain't call." I ain't doing it. That one ain't getting no grace. That one is like, F off. You missed your chance. I'm busy. Click. No love lost. Right now. What David was talking about, I respect. That one's getting grace. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'll give him 3 times, but he's getting grace in those 3 times. I don't believe in 4, 5, 6, 7. No, after then the F word's coming out. Like, bro, come on. I'm just saying at a certain age, you gotta freaking put the law down that you built up all those years of becoming a man. Like, you got to just hold your boundaries, even with the close friends that screw you over. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to tell them you're not doing them a favor by letting them screw you over, because they're going to do it to the next guy and the next guy. No, somebody has to check them. And then whatever they do after that, they ain't coming back to you. But at least you can't sit down here and say coulda, woulda, shoulda. No, I did. I'm good now. I got it off my chest. Your job is to apologize and humble yourself and apologize. If you don't apologize, great. Again, cost me that much to get rid of you. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Coach talked about then after I read it, I'll give y'all a second. I'll make a comment and then y'all can go on it. So Q said, "I'm curious, what does extended grace look like? Are we talking about patience? I just want to understand." So for me, when I'm talking about this, so when I'm talking about like grace, what I'm talking about is more so some patience and we're not even really patient, more like understanding. Like, I understand that Sub's going to be busy, right? So if I don't talk to him for 5 or 6 months, like, I'm okay with it. I'm not looking, it's not patience, because it's not like I'm waiting on him to respond before I get ready to cut him off. I'm just holding this thing, and then when he get to 1 year, I'm cutting him off. No. It's like, he busy. I know he just moved. He got kids. He got a lot of stuff going on. So if I don't hear from him, I'm extending grace. I'm extending him, not even extending. I'm just looking at it as he has life going on. Yeah. He has other things going on that is a lot more important than an extended member of his wolf pack. So he need to be focusing on his life and what he got going on. So I'm not worried or put off for anything anymore when Sub don't hit me up, when Vic don't hit me up, when Coach don't hit me up. I'm not put off by that, because I know all these gentlemen is busy. So again, for me to answer this question, and y'all can answer it however y'all want to, when I look at extending grace, I just look at it as me offering more understanding about what someone has going on in their life, and I move according to that, which means Coach busy, Vic busy. I will hit him when I need to, or if I don't hear from him, then maybe I need to be the one who initiates more of the conversation. My dad told me a long time ago with my family, he said, if you want to have a relationship, you just do your part.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. So
yeah.
But feel free if any of y'all want to hit up this question.
I'm gonna say, listen, I'm giving you. I don't know what Coach means by extended grace. I'm giving you grace. I'm not going further than grace. I'm not extending it any further than grace. You got one olive branch. You ain't going to get a bunch of leaves. I'm saying when people start saying extended grace, I mean, how many extensions are you going to give them?
Extending.
Extended,
Like
yeah.
offering.
Okay,
grace. Just like
I'm
yeah.
understanding it that way. Yes.
Yeah.
Good friends, extend grace. And I'm saying, listen, I'm not talking about the average, oh, you didn't come over, oh, you didn't call, oh, you missed my call. Because I think my friends extend grace to me when they know I've been busy for a month. I'm drawing something. I'm not the greatest at getting back to them because I got a deadline, shit like that. Cool. They always extend me grace. I'm cool with that stuff, right? Now, like I said, I don't need to extend the grace to the average friend. I don't want to. I don't have time for that. It's okay. It's cool. Go about your business. But the friends that know me and within my, I wouldn't say Wolfpack because I separate the two. Those ones get grace all they want because they know me and I know them.
Look, real quick, I was actually going to touch on that when, I had a chance to jump in. But yeah, Garfield, I still call him Martin, but, man, he took the time out to invite me to this, and I was on the very first show. And, and after that, man, just everything just started coming. I'm actually, if y'all see, I'm in the empty room right now, just moved into this new house, man. So I went from one house, now I'm trying to get the old house together to rent out. And, I'm like, man, I'd have missed all the shows, and, he done took the time out to put all this together, actually invite me, and it's like, man, I'd have missed them all, pretty much all of them, but, throughout the course of that, he still was checking on me, like, what's going on? How you doing? Holding up? I would tell him, I got this going on, and he was cool, and, man, not saying that, that's what you have to do or that's the norm, but, that's how, I try to carry myself as well. Like even for Antoine, if Antoine and I were friends and I knew that this was his standard, I'd be like, all right, let me call my man, hit him up or whatever, so I don't get deleted on January 1st, because, that's his standard, and I would be cool with that, as long as I knew that, that would be me extending my grace to that situation, because I understood that, and like I say, even now, this, Martin is the perfect example of extending that grace throughout the course of this. Because like I said, to me, I don't know what all went into this, but I'm sure there was more things that went into it than me just having to be here. So, the fact that, I didn't uphold my end when I, accepted, the invitation, I was like, man, I felt, kind of bad. But at the same time, he was there, he'd check on me, like, he'd tell me about the shows and all that kind of stuff. So, man, and, that's the kind of thing that, man, as far as, having a relationship with another man, Wolfpack, all that kind of stuff, man, that's what keeps those things solid, man, and that's the reality of how I think things should work, and like I said, even for someone like Antoine that seems to be hard line on this, I would have no issue with that. If that's my man, I'm gonna reach out to him like, yo, let me call him, make sure we good. Come over, yo, I'm slapping something on the grill, whatever. We gonna watch some games. I would make sure I extend that. Now, but that's just how I would be. That would be me extending the grace.
But I agree with George. With all the forms of communication today, you ain't missing the call, and you can send me a text while you're on the bathroom bowl. Okay, so you saw that blue dot. Those days are gone. So you don't have a reason to say you didn't get my message. Just say you didn't want to call me back. Or just say you forgot. That I'm cool with. But the excuses, and that's why I say, if I, like I said, come January 1st, I have my beer or my coffee in hand, and I'm deleting your ass. Because Antoine, if I didn't say happy birthday to him, I didn't reach out to him for the whole year, I didn't even say hi to his brother that came into town that he texted me and told me, I already know my number's deleted. They know. So I just think that at a certain age, we as men have to make those hard decisions to say goodbye. And I think if you try to please everyone, you're not going to get work done. You know what I mean? You're not going to listen. I'm not the most going. I don't go to church. I go to church on the main things: Christmas, midnight mass, the ones that matter. Right? Something go wrong, I got to go pray to the man at the house. Other than that, I'm not going to lie and say I go every Sunday. I don't care to go every Sunday. I don't have time, and I'm sorry, I don't have time to do the whole offering things. I don't. But God knows who I am. He knows what I'm doing. So he's going to give me grace to go, I know that guy, man. He's going to only come to me when he needs something. Ain't going, and I don't believe he's going to look at me any less. Right? And I don't believe every priest up there belongs there. But that's me. But do I have respect for it? 100%. I don't believe in the Pope. I don't think anybody should sit on a gold bowl. But I don't believe anybody should be in that position and do nothing in life for the rest of the world. So he'll never get my respect because he's the Pope. I believe it's the most corrupt system. But do I believe in the church as overall? Absolutely. 100%. He's not going to tarnish my version of what I see of who God is to me. That's all I'm saying. And I think as men, we have to be able to cut people off, man, and stop worrying about the outcome to grow.
I get you, Antoine. And I appreciate everything. Coach, I got your comment. I saw it, but we about to switch to which color, so I ain't going to jump on it, but I'll throw it out there real quick. So pretty much Coach said interesting points. Extending grace came from the brother in the Superman shirt. But what I'm hearing is these different interpretations of patience. Either me exercising patience, understanding, or being patient with someone else. Appreciate those comments, Coach. Definitely do. Here we go. We about to switch it up real quick, right? So here's the next statement. We got about 28 minutes left. So not everyone who supports you belong in your inner circle. What y'all think about that?
Everybody don't need to know everything.
It's real. I got fans. So
you got fans. People. Talk to me. Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
I think I got 3 fans, but there are people who will support you and will love everything that you do, no matter what it is. And you, just like people in your inner circle, like your family, you wouldn't go and have a beer with them. You wouldn't go and chop it up with them. You'll talk to them about what you got going on, and then after they leave, it's like, ugh, I'll never speak to that person again. You won't tell them to their face, but it's like, all right, on to the next one. So, but yeah, not everybody who supports everything that you do needs to be in your inner circle for sure.
I agree with that, because sometimes you can take the wrong people along with you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to take the wrong people along with you. Just because they support you don't mean that they should be or you should consider them your ride or die, or in your Wolfpack, or your homeboy, or whatever, your friend. Because like I said, and from experience, there are people that I would try to, pull along with me, and then, or even though they would support me, and I remember in situations like that feeling like, all right, this is wearing me down though. You know what I'm saying? And because, especially even though they might be supporting you, if it's wearing you down, and that's not a good mix. You know what I'm saying? I think like somebody said, the relationship or friendship, it should be reciprocal. You know what I'm saying? And so it should be reciprocal. I shouldn't be the one that's always pouring out. You follow what I'm saying? It should be reciprocal. And that's the thing. And so I do agree with this statement. Just because someone supports you, and I think, George, you said something about fans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't need fans. I don't care about fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about. Go ahead.
I get that, but if somebody listening in, they looking at y'all and they like, bro, like, this is my number one supporter. Like, why can't I take them with me? You know what I'm saying? Because like let's be honest, we talked about what's the word? We talked about, somebody told up earlier, talk about living in the past, growing up rough, having different things going on, getting rid of those friends not doing anything now, yada yada yada. But we may have somebody, maybe not even young, maybe somebody in their 40s or in their 50s, and they got people in their inner circle because they support them, but that person may not be doing well, but they may not see it. So I guess what I'm asking is, follow-on question. You can hit this one, but at the same time, maybe add a why. Like, why can I not bring everybody who's for me? And I guarantee when I'm thinking everyone, I'm not really looking at literally everyone. I'm looking at maybe now I'm just gonna kind of shift. No, I'll say it anyway. Now it's like, well, grandma, aunties, uncles, they all support me. So why can't they all be in my inner circle? I don't know. I don't know who it is, but why can't the people who support me be in
I'll
my
give
inner
you
circle?
an easy answer to that one because
Yeah.
I believe so. The word support is overrated for me.
Okay.
For me, people use support because they expect something in return with it. So they're supporting you up until they need something back. That word is being used too loosely. You're supposed
They
to
might be
support me, man.
faking it.
You're supposed to support me. You're my friend. You're supposed to support me. But if you're supporting me based on who I am, what I got going on, because you know if you don't support me, I ain't going to help you, then that's not real support. That's all I'm saying. That's not real support. That's how I look at it. If somebody supports me, I'm gonna look at them and go, okay, when was the last time he supported me? Was he there when I didn't have nothing? I just find people use that word too, like love. They use that word too loosely, and I think they use support too loosely. You're supposed to support me. We're friends. What kind? I mean, no. Why are you there then? Well, if you're not my friend, you're supposed to support me. Why are you there then? If you're not supporting me, like what
And then
Right on.
let me chime in and say this too. And then even with that word support and everything, what you're talking about, and then what happens is sometimes some people will support you as long as you do what they want.
Yep.
And then the moment you want to better yourself, you follow what I'm saying? And I'm speaking that from, like I said, from experiences. You know, the moment you want to better yourself and you want something different or different from what they're doing, then that's where friction comes in. And so were they ever really friends? You know what I
exactly,
mean?
David? Support and jealousy are right next to each other. Hello,
Ooh, hold up.
right there, right there.
Oh, hold up. Everyone in here.
Yo, that's crazy.
Antoine up here spitting.
I'm
All
just
day.
saying, like it ain't rocket science, man. You know
What? Look, let me tell you something. That word support, I love where Antoine started with that because he sliced it in half because there's transactional people all over the place, right? And there are going to be more transactional people than folks that are actually invested in what you do, the time and effort you put into without wanting anything. Okay. Most people that are transactional are going to pervert the meaning of words and they're going to contort the meaning to their own manipulative desires, especially when you are heavily involved in something that's creative and they can't see your vision. So they're puzzled by what you do. But these are the same people that like to say they know you and then also talk down on you when your back is turned, won't defend you when they know somebody else is talking crazy about you and then show up at the barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
that one day.
And so like when you start thinking about what I do is this. If you're not sure if this person's got your interest based on the way that they behave, if it were a woman, would you want to be in a relationship with her based on that behavior? If you wouldn't accept that same behavior from a woman without challenging it, why are you in association with anyone that is using support as a transactional conversation, thinking that they're going to get something back every time you go to the store? Like when you tell your kids, hey, every time I go to the store, I'm not buying you something every time I go to the store, right? That's what a lot of supporters think. There's a clip of an interaction between Chad Ochocinco and his mama. And she said in one of the clips, she just blew up and said, he left me and went on to play in the NFL. Like, what? So your son is getting big contracts, performing well, he's probably gonna be a Hall of Famer, and she can't do nothing but complain about her son leaving, and not as if he was wasting his time or something. And So a lot of the time that these models of support and what we think, they're coming from people that are leaving damaged and manipulative homes. So their perception of what support, trust, everything that's on the emotional level that validates a reciprocal relationship, it's all twisted up before you even get there. So you think that you took a picture with them and then they use that as a credit card to go get some kind of social clout wherever they go, just to say they know you. This is why people don't like taking pictures no more. This is why people be very careful about what they write, because if they screenshot it, you know what I'm saying, they put it out and say, hey, look, I had a conversation with them, and they'll violate that stuff. And it all came underneath the umbrella of support. So, Antoine, I agree with everything that you were saying in the context that you were speaking about.
Yeah, Coach also,
You said
I would just stick this out there, then y'all can go, but Coach also said the same thing. Support these days, similar. Support these days isn't support. A lot of perceived support is really others collecting for their own selfish gain. Most of us don't know what support means.
Man, come
There
on.
you go, coach.
Especially when you create something, like this is the most vulnerable space that most people can be in, to be on camera, speaking about how you feel about things, whether you write, you paint, you do scripts, you know, have intellectual exchange. And you can't trust people that are jealous of your ability to be so bold. You might not even be good at what you do, but they might be jealous of the fact that you're willing to do it because they don't have the will, and they will model how they perceive you off of their twisted definition of the word support. So you got to be careful with that word, man.
Yeah, I agree. That 100% agree with what Vic just said. Is that in your accountable masculinity book or no?
Yes, it is. It
Okay.
is.
Check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else y'all got, man?
Do you guys? Let me ask you guys, because I don't know if you guys are who's married, who's not. But do you guys think your? Sorry. Do you guys think the support you get from your significant other is the same support you get from your ride and die friends? Or
Oh,
those
my wife is vicious about me.
Well, what I would say is, yeah, I do that. I do, and actually, if I can, say, my wife is my ride or die. You know, my wife is my ride or die, and
You got
so
good, boy.
yeah, I do.
31 years, bro.
31 years. We celebrated 31 years. Been together
Wow.
going on 36. So yeah,
Wow.
when it comes to support, and if I could just keep it a buck, I get more support from her than I do from some of the fellas, and that's how it should be. Or at least for me, that's like
that's how it should be. Really.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's how it should be. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you.
David, that it's different support from your friends, right?
Say it again.
Yeah.
You would agree that it's a different type of support than from your friends, right? You would agree.
Yeah, it'll be different, man.
Okay.
That'll always be different, man. You know, what you have in your home with your significant other, your spouse, your wife, that'll always be different. And that doesn't mean that your friendships with your actual friends, your boys, your Wolfpack, it doesn't mean that that's not significant, because it really, truly is. But, it's just, a different level, man. You know?
I don't know. I'm hoping I'm able to trust a woman like that in my life. I'm really hoping for that. That'd be something cool.
Absolutely.
I'm serious. I don't think I will be able to. I think I'll always separate her from my business because I don't want her to be there. I don't need her. But I hope one day I'm able to have that kind of like what you guys are talking about. I mean, listen, I had the puppy love shit. Don't get me wrong. But at the level of where I am in life now, not healing, I'm already healed. I'm perfect as I am, just growing and learning. I would like to know if I'm able to dump that on a woman to trust her like that. I don't know if I'd be sleeping with one eye open, or when I leave the house, make sure my phone's tapped. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Well,
yeah.
Well, if you can't find nobody that can afford you all that, then no, you're in the right place. I mean, you exactly where you need to be if you can't find nobody like that. Because the right woman will make you feel that way, man.
I don't believe. See, that's where we're different. I don't believe the right woman can make me feel anyway. It's how I want to feel, right? I don't believe. I'm just saying.
Man, I have no issue with that, man.
No, but if the right woman comes along and I'm happy with her, I'm genuinely happy. It's like a woman I'm willing to marry and die. And I ain't riding and dying with no woman, but I mean, she's right there. I would like to know if I'm able to hand over that trust to her like that. I don't think I will be able to. I'll always have that, like, but I would like to know that if I'm able to do that. That's a very good question. David put that to me. I like that.
Yeah, man.
So there's a word that gets people to 31. And that is the real understanding of the word love. When you really understand the true meaning of the word love, it ain't that hard. But most people in most relationships do not understand the word love.
Okay.
And that's part of the problem.
Okay.
I agree with that too, because
That's good stuff.
Man.
That's true.
David and his wife, they understand love. Love is action.
You still think, hey David, do you still think those women exist today in modern time?
I do believe that
Yeah, you just got to find the right one, man.
You have to find the right
that's
one.
all it is.
I believe
Everybody has their
found the
man.
right one 4 times. So when you say the right one, I don't know about that one, but I mean, a guy else finds the right one. I'm like, all right, and then next thing you know, he's on my couch crying. Man, I thought she was the right one. I said, we'll find the next one, right? But I'm just saying, like, that's 31 years, man. That's like, I mean, my parents been together 68. But they don't make those type of women anymore, right? I'm just saying, you really think that exists today? I mean, look at Walt. No offense to Walt, but he's been in the longest engagement known already. And I'm like, you really think?
No, it ain't been that long, bro.
How long has it been? 2 years?
It's been just short of a year.
Okay, I still think like,
Just
okay,
short.
I'll give him that. But I'm just saying, like, it's like, I don't know, man. Vic, how long you been married?
I've been married for 3 years now.
See, okay, and Vic found the one because I know her. I can honestly say I like to think that I know her. So that's cool. Yeah. That's
she
definitely
know you.
It's definitely
man, I ain't that bad. What happened to 555 Antoine?
But yeah, it's definitely possible, like you said, and I do believe it is. But what you think, I love what you said, Garfield. Most people don't realize what the true meaning of love is,
Yeah.
And I think that's the key.
Okay.
I give you a hint, Antoine.
Go ahead.
God is love.
Yes, sir. That's right.
All right, let's move along to the next one. All right, so the next statement we got on the thing is this. I'm trying to go, you know what? What time we got? We only got like 5 minutes. Bump it. Here we go. So this question right here, I want y'all, you can do it however you want to. So we are talking about the Wolfpack, but since we kind of brought in relationships, like with the woman, I'm okay with extending this question out to women if you want to. So the closing question is this. What's one quality every young man should look for when choosing people he'll do life with? Now, those people can be men like the Wolfpack. It can be your definition of the Wolfpack. And if you consider women part of your Wolfpack, you can include them. Or if you want to just talk about specifically a woman in your life. I know we had that show last week. We probably could have added a little bit more to it. I know we could have had a whole lot more to it. But I'm extending this question a little bit, even to women. So if this person or the people you want to talk about is women, by all means do so. Only thing I ask is nothing. Just go for it. There you go, gentlemen. So here we go again. What's one quality every young man should look for when choosing the people he'll do life with?
Okay, I'm going to be quick because first of all, I don't believe a woman should be in that mix because when you break up with her, you're going to come back with another song and dance, and you're going to go back in front of the altar and all that praying stuff. I don't believe any of that. So I'm not even including a woman in that, right?
Okay.
When you break up, you're a different man, and all of a sudden it's like, I didn't know, bullshit, right?
So Antoine is going with no woman.
I think you have to do two things. You have to choose. You look at that person and you say, will that person be something that will elevate me in my life? Will that person serve a purpose to elevate something in my life? When choosing the right people to be with, like they're there for a reason. That's it.
For me, you got, if you're doing one quality, I'm gonna say consistency. Anybody can be your friend for a weekend. We talked about some of that. We talked about anybody can be your support, but when you got people who are in your life consistently and they're able to not only support you but help build you, help create a better version of yourself on a day in and day out basis, these people are going to help you shine in a bad storm. So consistency.
I would actually say, well, I'm like I said, since we, got on the fact that I've been married for 31 years, I'm going to talk about it from the aspect of my wife and everything and a woman. So that's what because what's that one quality I believe every young man should look for uh, is when choosing someone to do life with, or their wife or woman, is someone that's going to help you become a better version of yourself. And even when you're not becoming that better version, that they'll still love you through the process as you're going to that better version of yourself.
Go ahead, Sue.
All right, I'll go next. Self-awareness. I think, man, one of the most important things for anybody, man, is self-awareness, man. You need to have people around you that's aware of who they are, and, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but, I feel like, that's been like the biggest thing for me, to I would I would say I don't know if it's the right way to put it, to get out of people is self-awareness. So they have understanding of who they are, how they treat you, where you need to go, all those things. Self-awareness.
Um, I'd say emotionally disciplined behavior, because everyone can tell you what they are, but what they act like is who they are. There's a difference between characteristics and character. So we might work well together. We might do this, very well, professional, whatever. But you might get off here and do a line of coke. You know what I'm saying? Or you might have some kind of crazy activity that might get you locked up somewhere. So I don't care what people say. I believe what they do, and I don't have to wait for it to happen to me. You know, to I don't have to wait to become a victim to see how you move and determine, like, that's not a safe person to be around. So emotionally disciplined people don't make situations worse, because life got enough to throw at you anyway. So the last thing you need is somebody else that takes your situation, makes it about them, and makes the situation worse. So I believe having emotionally disciplined behavior is the most important thing, because you can't learn anything if you don't have discipline over your own emotions, and you can't weather storms, you can't persevere. There's so many things you can't do without discipline. There's very little worth doing in life that's worth doing that you can't accomplish without discipline.
Mhm.
I was stuck on this question for a long time, still kind of stuck. So I think I got it, my answer, but I don't know if I really doing that. So I wrote down blank variety. I was like, I think I don't know what word goes in front of variety, but I look at all of us and I look at all of us are different. Then I was like, well, what is one thing? So my initial word was blank variety. I couldn't figure out what to put before variety. So what I did was I started thinking about, well, what is one thing, one quality that all of these men have in common? And the first thing, one of the most initial thoughts that came to my head was respect. I don't know why that was a big one, but one of the things that we have on here for each other, one of the qualities that all of us have is respect. Yeah, we may talk over each other and raise our voice and stuff like this, but ain't nobody over here getting out of hand. Nobody ain't slapping nobody. Nobody ain't sending nobody no nasty emails after the show or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think even though I had something variety, I think I'm gonna change my word to respect. So I think that one quality every young man should look for when choosing people he'll do life with is respect. And those people he chooses to do life with, some of those people are going to be the wife. Some of those people are going to be brothers and sisters. Some of those people are going to be Wolfpack members. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you kind of got to have that respect thing going on over there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
what else y'all got, man?
that like to that point though, we respect the initiative you took to put this together after like years of doing content together, right? So
Mhm.
we show up out of respect for you, and even if we don't know each other, we might necessarily, for the most part, we're very agreeable, right? But because we have respect for you and the panel, we can put our egos to the side. You know what I'm saying? To keep the conversation going where it's going. And that's one thing I can say about Antoine. Like when first time I had to do some content with him, I was in a transition in how I want to do content. And then along comes this guy, you know what I'm saying? Where he can make an argument out of a stick if he wanted to. So I
Hey,
said,
I changed, man. Give me some. I changed. Come on.
and I'm about to give you your flowers. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say we put the egos to the side, because like when Uncle Junior and I was coming up with the concept of what we thought elevated dialogue needed to be and how it needed to go, and then he throws you in there. You know what I'm saying? Like because he's a master manipulator. You know what I'm saying? By the way,
Oh shit.
I brought Antoine in to troll Vic.
like yeah, he put it in the notes. But the thing
Push
is,
Vic's buttons.
yeah, he tried it so bad, but then I said, you know what, man? Antoine's the living manifestation of why you got to let people have their opinion, because I don't like being censored. You see what I'm saying? So that makes me go harder about what I say and what I do. And here comes Antoine. You can't censor the man. Let him say his piece, because one thing about that's respect in itself, because not all of us cross the same street at the same time, you know what I'm saying, the same way. So you got to let people get to the same understanding first, and then we can backtrack, and then we can change some, you know what I'm saying, a technique or whatever, if that person wants that. But you gotta. One of the things I used to say as an instructor is, I don't um, I don't give advice to people that don't have their hands raised, because like I don't have your attention. If I'm just stopping you in the middle of what you're doing to tell you what I think about something, it's disrespectful to you. But if you are raising your hand, you expecting something helpful to come out of my mouth, then that's what I got to give you. So that whole spectrum of respect is a great way to, what I'm saying, capture that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
You need to play your church music on yourself. That was you spitting, man.
Hold up. Let me go ahead and get mine. Hold up.
Right? Exactly. There you go. I was like, where's the piano now?
Play at the meeting. I'm just playing. Man,
Wait, I gotta say this though.
Go ahead.
Guys on the panel, I just believe. Listen, I'm the kind of guy. You can't make bad news sound pretty. It's still bad news. So just say it so I can fix it and change it. Right? I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to like me. I got enough friends that I need you to respect me. Right? That's how I look at things. And I don't believe in. Why didn't you tell the guy he was like this? Oh well, it wasn't my place. It wasn't. No, it is your place, because he said it to you. And he said it about somebody else, and you needed to check him there. That's what I believe. There is no right time to tell somebody something. The right time is when you know. You're always asking God to let me know. When he lets you know, now you're not opening up your mouth because you're looking for another right time. That's how I see things.
Play your music.
You know? Come on,
Man, this has been great. But before we go, man, this is the last, sadly, the last episode. You know what I mean? We just did 6 parts, man. And I've enjoyed these last 6 weeks. I was on vacation and I was looking forward to the last show and kind of sad at the same time, man, because I've got to reach out to some people. I got to spend some time. I work with with David. You know, I've been knowing him for the last couple of years. We co-worked together. I've been knowing Suba since 1995. You know, I remember he was a cook, man. He used to bring us food and stuff for our cookouts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You need burgers. Hey man, hook us up, bring some burgers from the chow hall. You know what I mean? And then walk, you know what I mean? Being a school counselor to his children. You know, Vic, you know, we go back to 2007, 2008 in Iraq. And then Antoine, I met Antoine because Antoine reached out to me because we was in one of the same Facebook groups. And he was like, hey, I got way more to say on this. And Antoine, you know, we had a long conversation about it. You know, Coach, I met Coach through a mutual friend. You know, everybody who's been on this panel, you know, I have a great deal of respect for them. And that's why I reached out to you specifically. You know, I know something about you in your personal life, and I thought that you, along with me, would be able to benefit from just sitting around and having a conversation. Um, One of the, you know, I've mentioned this before on my shows, but while we were, me and Vic, you know, and Suba, you know, while you're in the military, man, you can reach out if you want to. There's a wolf pack everywhere you go. There's opportunity for people to be part of your wolf pack. You got from the lowest ranking to you got senior ranking, you got leadership, you got people in all different types of walks of life from all different places. And but once I got out, especially after 20 years, like that was all I knew. I didn't have a wolf pack per se. I didn't have people in my city, you know, like three of y'all, you know, two of y'all, people on my left and right now, y'all in my city. We can go and break bread and have lunch. We can go and have dinner. You know what I mean? We can hang out. I didn't have that once I got out. I had developed that and built that. So any of y'all, any men who's watching this, I can tell you right now how important it is and how much my life have grown from that. All of the podcasts we've had, all of the conversations I've had with you gentlemen over the years, like all of those things have helped me grow to become who I am. So I am not who I am just based off of me. Every member in my wolf pack has had a piece and played a role in that, you know. And I think when it comes to Wolfpack, that's why they're so important because David has a perspective, and Walt and Suba and Vic and Antoine and Unc and everybody else who's been on the show has a perspective and a vantage point and a view and great information. And some of us are the smartest person in some things, and that's good, you know, because what everybody else have, if you're in the wolf pack, everybody gets to benefit from, everybody eats, and then you also get to be a servant and you get to serve and give people what you have been blessed to receive over these years. So that's where I'm at, man. I don't know where I got on my high horse real quick. Maybe I wanted to church music or something like that, but feel free, anybody want to have any last minute comments before we roll up here. um I'll extend it to 6 minutes. If anybody want to shoot something, I know Antoine went, Vic went, Suba, David, or on Walt. If y'all want to say any last little words about anything, man, feel free to do so before we roll up out of here.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, Garfield, that I really appreciate you inviting me to be a part of this whole situation here. I started watching years ago as a fan and just chiming in the chat, man, and you know I enjoyed it so much. I was like, man, if I ever get the opportunity, I'm definitely gonna make every chance I can to get on podcast with you. And if you got any more in the future, like I said before, man, I'm here for you. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, I am a published author. I got my sixth book called Brotherhood, the Be a Man story, coming out later this year. So you can follow me on my website, wburchett3.com, and I'll get with you.
Yeah. Yeah, Garfield, I want to say I appreciate you having me, man. This has been a great experience doing this with you, doing something outside of, the four walls of the job and everything. And it's just, I think it's great when men, get together. It's an awesome experience. And like you say, we learn, from each other, different perspectives and everything. And I love what you said about all of us are a expert in something. you know, and we all glean from each other. And I think that's important. But yeah, I just want to say appreciate uh, you, man, for that. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, and I'll say the same, man. Appreciate the invite, man. And again, man, the showing of grace, during this period that I was, trying to get this house moved together and all that, man. So man, it's been a fantastic experience, man. And, man, I can't say enough for the invite, man. And, the work that you do to put in to all this stuff, making these links so it's in my calendar and easily accessible and all that, man. Yeah, man. Thank you for that. And thank you for the effort, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So here's what we got. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I am going to do another. If anybody's watching and y'all, I am going to do another 6-part series. I know I may have mentioned it before, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. So what I plan on doing, is I'm going to reach out to 6 experts, and I mean experts in their field. And I want them to come on and give us, a little short maybe presentation, a little talk through, and then I just want us to be able to have a bunch of questions and get our questions answered about stuff. I was thinking about some things like, maybe somebody who's really smart in like life insurance or something like that, not necessarily come on here and sell us anything, but just give us the game about it. Maybe somebody who's really smart with, maybe an educator, and maybe, or, AI. I don't know, but I'm really looking, and trying to think about 6 really good topics, and then reaching out to some experts, and then have us benefit from that as well. You know what I mean? Because, all of us, I see some gray hairs and some bald heads and some stuff like that. You know what I mean? So all of us getting a little longer in the tooth. And, with the information that we may not have, I want to be able to bring in some experts that we can benefit from, and then learn from them. You know what I'm saying? And then we be able to ask questions all you want. We may give them 30 minutes, and then the next hour is just Q&A and asking questions and just talking about figuring out how we can make our lives better. Maybe we have a really expert marriage counselor in here, and come in here and talk and share about stuff. And it ain't just for married folks, for single folks who want to be married too. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that I've been thinking about. Maybe more so doing series and stuff instead of a long running show. Based off of what time, based off what the market is looking for, whatever like that, and stuff like that. Because I want us to grow and learn and stuff like this. And again, all of us are experts at something, but there are other people who are outside of our wolf pack who are experts at something, and I want us to learn from them and grow and be able to get information from that too. I don't want to just have the information myself. I know somebody, they own that life insurance and they like this. I don't care if it's Bitcoin or whatever, because even stuff like that, Antoine has talked about that, but some people don't understand it. So maybe bringing somebody in to give them understanding, they can do with it or not, but at least they may be able to get their questions answered about stuff like that. So what y'all think about that?
I think
Yeah.
I think curriculum approach is a good way to go about it. Like uh, you know, we graduate high school, college, then you guys work in education, or adjacent to it, but the whole time you're still having to learn and update your own skills.
Mm-hmm.
Your social skills have to be updated. Your ability to recognize, like when a situation is not advantageous. Yeah, I think life in itself is a curriculum, and comes a point in time we have to learn how to do this stuff. Like, like even down to using StreamYard, man. We had to become an engineer. If you want to put the information out there, you got to learn how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say turn it on. You got to be tapped into the right stuff, and make sure your information is going out to the right audience too. Learning your audience is a skill, and developing content that is helpful. That's a skill in itself. So yeah, man, anything that you can put on this screen, I know behind it is an intent to teach.
And they didn't teaching this in school. When we talk about,
say this is the stuff that, like, what we're talking about now. There should have been a version of this in our homes first. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that we're talking about is what what our parents, what we wish our parents would have been able to prepare us for, you know. So we're not dependent on the education system to teach and make up for a lack of parenting.
Mm.
Because this is why, like I said earlier when I was talking to George about, you know, like people from your hometown, and I've been fortunate enough to see like my graduating class be very successful, you know, across the board. So that is a representation of how education was paramount, discipline was paramount, you know, having structure and order to every step that you take in life. We don't, most adults don't get this until they have their children. They realize everything they have to go reprogram themselves
Hmm.
so they can set their own kids up for success, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, just like the few of us that have been in
Yep.
the military, we've had to reprogram ourselves to be successful in the military when we were in. And we can recognize that earlier with younger soldiers when we had those guys. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yep.
stop reprogramming yourself. So, yeah, we need a system update.
All right. Hey, with that being said, gentlemen, chat, I sure appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody's been here. For all the Wolfpack members who didn't come on this show, appreciate you for being here too. All the words and everything you said. Again, that's it, folks. We out. We will see y'all next series. Have a great